Okay, for this lesson, we're going to talk about inequalities, set notation, and interval notation. And so for the following inequality, we're going to represent the inequality with set notation, interval notation, and a graph. So we'll start with the left side and just go with x is greater than or equal to 4, negative 4. So well, first off, I'll graph it. First off, you want to make sure you understand what's going on here. So if this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, there would be negative 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, there would be 5. And so we can go ahead and think about, well, what values would make this true? Well, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, anything to the right, and including negative 4. So we would have a closed circle there at negative 4, and all the points to the right would work. And so that's how you'd represent that graphically. Now set notation is really kind of nice. So for set notation, you just bring it down. So if you can read my chicken scratchings there. So set notation, you have, we usually use like a little bracket like that, and then we're going to use the variable x, and then this line just separates the inequality. So this would be set notation. So it's almost the same as an inequality. Wow, that's a terrible bracket. Then the last one is interval notation, which condenses all of this even further. So interval notation, so for interval notation, we include the negative 4, and it goes all the way to the right. Well, we show that by saying it's positive infinity. And then we have this is called a hard bracket, and this is called a soft bracket. A hard bracket means we include the negative 4 in the problem, and we want all the numbers clear to infinity. That's a soft bracket because we can't include infinity. If you go to infinity, there's always one more number. So you just can't include it because it always gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's for the left problem on the left. Now let's deal with the problem on the right. So on the right, the only difference is, and I'm going to write this just a little bigger, it's x is greater than negative 4. So x is greater than negative 4 does not have, over here it was x is greater than or equal to negative 4. And so on this right side here, we don't include the negative 4. So the graph looks very similar. Here would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's negative 4. There's positive 4. You could keep going in both directions for the number line. But if we want to go ahead and graph this, we don't include negative 4, but we have to start there. So we would have an open circle at negative 4, and then all the points to the right would be true. So like negative 3.9999 would be true, but negative 4 would not be true. That would be false. So set notation, again, it'd be that curly Q bracket, and we're dealing with the variable x, and you just bring down your inequality. So set notation's pretty much inequalities where you just go ahead and verify that we're using x as our variable. That's the only difference, really. And then for interval notation, we don't include the negative 4, so it's a soft bracket, and we go all the way to positive infinity with another soft bracket. So there's the interval notation for that. All right, next problem. So at this point, you might have this figured out. So go ahead and see if you can do it. And again, I'm going to rewrite it because this is just kind of hard to see. And so it's negative 5 is less than or equal to x is less than 3. So see if you can make a graph for it, then put it in set notation, and then try your interval notation. So press pause because I'm just going to dive right in and do it. But press pause and try it first on your own. All right, so for our number line, again, here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go a little bit further. So there's negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's positive 5. And we would include, I like pink, we would include the negative 5 because it's equal to. So we would have a solid circle here. And x is greater than negative 5. So I'm reading that part there. And then x is less than 3. So the thing is, 3 is my end point. It would be a open circle because we wouldn't include 3. And it's all the points between these two because x has to be greater than negative 5 and less than 3 at the same time. So it has to be between them. It includes the negative 5 and it does not include the 3 because of the less than or equal to and less than. So then set notation again, curly Q brackets. Again, we're dealing with the variable x. It doesn't have to be an x, but that's just what I'm choosing. So it's negative 5 is less than or equal to x is less than 3. And there's your set notation. Interval notation, we include the negative 5 and we go to 3, but we don't include the 3. So that's the symbols we would use for that. And that's, for the most part, that's set notation, interval notation, and graphs. So I've got one more problem we can try. Make sure you got this figured out. Again, press pause. See if you can graph it. Do the interval notation. Do the set notation. And here we go. So for my number line again, here's my 0. Here's a couple in the negative. There's negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe. We'll go on just a little further. And so when we graph this thing, we start at 0. So x is greater than 0. I always read from the x. X is greater than 0. And x is less than negative 5. So if you start at 0, we would have an open circle at 0. It's greater than 0, but it's less than 5. Or it's equal to 5. So that little line again under there means equal to. So here's what my graph looks like. It's any point between 0 and 5. It includes 5, but does not include 0. So the set notation, again, kind of simple. You make your x with a line to separate your variable from your inequality. And just pull your inequality right in. So it's 0 is less than x, less than or equal to 5. And that's set notation. Pretty simple. Now your interval notation, we don't... Mike stopped on me. So again, on this interval notation, we would not, taking just a minute, we would not include the 0, but we would include the 5. So you would have a soft bracket on the left, hard bracket on the right. And so there's your interval notation. So I hope this helps for those 4 things: intervals, set notation, interval notation, inequalities, and graphs. So best of luck. See you next time.